Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is qualifying for race number 10 in season number 9 of the NOFSRL Chick-fil-A Cup Series. We are here at the Talladega Super Speedway. We had a great race yesterday in the Hers Dash Years. Going to have a race later on today in the Turkey Hill Series, and of course we're setting the starting lineup for tomorrow's big show, the Chick-fil-A Cup Series right here from Talladega. And it's always a wild place when we come here. Mtn Dew Kickstart 500 tomorrow at noon Eastern Time. This is uncharted qualifying. The same hot seat drivers as last week, since there was not a Turkey Hill Series race last week. So the 07 of Nick Smith, the 08 of Bobo Jones, the 21 of Ashlin Boyd, the 55 of Logan Williams, the 57 of Brandon Mayhew, the 67 of Josh Williamson, the 71 of Zach Rogers, and the 98 of Zachary DiLello. I mean, so you can see who gets the pole position here. You got to have a drafting partner if you're going to get a good time. If everyone goes out by themselves, that's when things can really get interesting, because it's all about the speed in the race car. And when it comes to qualifying here at Talladega, that's usually not how it works. But we'll have to see who gets the advantage here in uncharted qualifying. Top two advance onto the show, and we'll race in tomorrow's 38-lap event. 98 here, Zachary DiLello, who won at Armory Digital in the Turkey Hill Series 2 weeks ago. Of course, back-to-back super speedways for the Turkey Hill Series, and that might work in DiLello's favor for today's Turkey Hill Series race. And so far, no one in a pack, so it's all going to come down to lap speed, at least for the moment. We'll have to see what the other four guys do here. The 21 of Ashlin Boyd, the 71 machine of Zach Rogers, Bobo Jones, and Nick Smith. Of course, Nick Smith is pretty well-experienced veteran compared to a lot of these other guys. He knows his way around. Napa Fan has been around. He's actually won an ARCA championship before, so expect him to get a good run. And these guys, they have it figured out right here. Nick Smith might have jumped out a little early, but Ashlin Boyd and the 71 of Zach Rogers, watch out for those two guys right there. They're the first two guys to really come out right with each other. Rogers is definitely close enough to catch up to the 21 and have a good draft off of him here. I'll have to see if Nick Smith closes in on Josh Williamson. I don't think he will. He's still coming up to speed, but these guys are going to have a good run. And Bobo Jones, he's going to be the last guy to fully complete a lap here in uncharted qualifying for the Mtn Dew Kickstart 500. Follow here with Zach Rogers in the 71 for Titan Fury Motorsports. Titan Fury has not had the best of seasons so far this season. They've struggled just a little bit. Not the best of runs for them. I don't think they've gotten a win yet this season, and they've always been one of the strongest teams in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Of course, their drivers, Brad Stover, Trey Barcha, Sebastian Kukulon, all super good drivers. All have won races in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. None of them have really shown much strength this season, and we'll have to see if their uncharted driver can join them in tomorrow's race. He got a really good run off of Ashlin Boyd there, and he may end up getting the best time here. He had a bit of a draft, but now he's driven away from the 21 machine. This could be a draft right here as well. Bobo Jones and the 98 machine of Zachary DiLello. That 08 could close in on the 98 machine, and that's actually, if he does close in on the 98, he's going to get probably the fastest lap, because if you get that draft, you suck right up to someone, that really increases your speed. But the 71 will go to the top of the board, not by much over the 67, but he did have that little bit of draft off the 21, so no surprise to see him get that top position. These guys are still going to get another lap in. I'd really watch out for Bobo Jones here. He did improve his time to third, but if he can close up to the 98 on this lap, he's going to go straight to the top. I'm pretty sure Bobo Jones made the show last week. It was Bobo Jones and Josh Williamson last week at Rockingham. Williamson is currently in the position to advance in the number 67. The 08 of Bobo Jones is not, but he is gaining on that 98 machine, and if he can close up to the back bumper before the start-finish line, which is definitely going to happen, he's going to the top of the board. Ashlin Boyd and Zach Rogers really improved their times right there, but watch out for the 08 of Bobo Jones. He closed right up to the back bumper of the 98. Will he go to the top of the board? He will not. He goes to third. Just 2/10 off of Zach Rogers and Ashlin Boyd, and with that, I believe that the 71 and the 21 are going to advance on and race in tomorrow's Mountain Dew Kickstart 500 at Talladega. Very interesting out of those guys right there. Bobo Jones did not have enough. And he might have gotten held up a little bit once he got to the back bumper of Landon Smith Jr., and that's probably what did him in right there. Zach Rogers and Ashlin Boyd improved their times once again, and with that, it will be Rogers and Boyd making it on to the 10th race of the season in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series season number 9. And we still got 30 more seconds left, so it's not over yet. These guys could still improve their time. If they didn't, though, that last time around, they're not going to at all, and they didn't, so we can confirm now that it will, in fact, be the 21 and the 71. Only unless the 07 can cross the line in time and he ended up getting a good run, we're going to have to see, but it's going to be close for Nick Smith, but I doubt he's going to have a fast enough time to advance. And he will not. Zach Rogers, Ashlin Boyd, they're going to move on to the Mountain Dew Kickstart 500. They're going to join the other 40 full-time drivers to see who wins the poll for the Mountain Dew Kickstart 500 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series season number 9 from Talladega. Let's go ahead and get to poll qualifying and see how they'll line up for tomorrow's 38-lap race. And here we are, ready to set the starting lineup for the Mountain Dew Kickstart 500 tomorrow at noon Eastern Time on Napa Fan. And I'll be joined alongside Trey Wright and Justin Zidell for the call. And both of you guys are team owners in this series. Justin actually won this race as a team owner back in August with Nicholas Samadillo. And John Andrews won the other race, and John Andrews drives for Trey in the Turkey Hill Series. So, I mean, we've seen Talladega races here before. We know how it works. It's a cycle race, but, you know, what do you have to do to be in the position on that final lap to win here at Talladega?
I think you just have to be right behind the leader and then make the right move if you can. Just like I've seen that before, like in Season 7 where Elijah Gordon was right behind. I thought it was over, but he made the move on the last lap, passed and got the win. So like, anything could happen, even with a bunch of cars in the pack or not. It's still unpredictable.
Yeah, this race this race varies. It could be just an absolute freight train for the entire race, or it could be a calamity-style wreckfest. Definitely varies from race to race, so it could either be a race for survival or a race for endurance. But Talladega always puts on a great show in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. It's definitely one of the races to watch if you're binging a season. So I think we're in store for a great race here tomorrow.
We definitely are, but the one sad thing about it this year is this is the only Talladega race that we have this year. For the first time ever, we're only going to do one Talladega race in a season, essentially replacing the second one with Armory Digital later on in the season, but that's going to make these guys want to fight for it even more. I mean, this place and Daytona are the two tracks where we've had the most races, and, you know, a lot of veterans have won here before. Of course, Nicholas Samadillo won the last race we had here in Talladega in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. John Andrews, a veteran driver, won his first Chick-fil-A Cup Series race here last year in this very race. Elijah Gordon, like Justin mentioned, this was Elijah's last win on Napa Fan, was Chick-fil-A Cup Series race here at Talladega. So it's anyone's game, and a lot of different guys are going to lead the race. That's what makes it so much fun. It's you just don't know what's going to happen. Even after qualifying, it doesn't really matter. We just do qualifying just for the formality of it, basically, for this race. But still, you know, if you start up front and we have an early wreck, you know, that might be a good place to be. But you can go to the back just as quickly as you can go to the front here, and that's just within a couple of laps. So, gonna be interesting to see how it all plays out. At the moment, Fisher G holds the fastest time. Now it is Silas Orta in the 3 machine. But realistically, it doesn't matter where you start in this race here at Talladega, because everyone, as long as you don't get involved in an early wreck, is going to have a shot at getting that inside lane and finding a way to the race lead.
And also pit strategy, that's going to possibly come into play.
That will not come into play. We made sure of that this year. Set that fuel usage down really low, and it will not be a factor in this race. So that's another thing is, too, with the super speedways we have in the Chick-fil-A Cups, is there are no pit stops in the events. They just race it the whole way through. Especially when you come to some place like Talladega, it's really just not necessary. Because they're all right on each other anyway. I mean, they're going to be passing, and a big reason why we have pit stops in other races is to encourage passing and encourage strategy, but You don't need that at a place like this. It's Talladega. It's just the way it is. Shane Lake fastest right now. Shane Lake won the Turkey Hill Truck Series race here back in December, I think, is when that race aired. But looking pretty strong right now. And Andrew Miller, who is one of the hottest drivers in the series right now, is second fastest, and he's going to get a good time here. Drafting off of Jesse Turner on this pack right in front of him. Andrew Miller's done a great job this season. Of course, you saw him win that race last week at Rockingham Trey. He won an Auto Club, which is a little bit similar to the style of racing we get here at Talladega. But how do you think Andrew's going to do the rest of the season here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series with Zidell Motorsports?
Well, as the entire career of Mark Martin is concerned, consistency is definitely key to be doing great things. I think as long as Andrew, as long as he stays consistent throughout the rest of the season, I think he's going to be the heavyweight to win the championship come season end at Darlington.
Yeah, I think so too. He's been doing really good this season. Man, already 2 wins in just the 1/3 of the season. Can't wait to see what other stuff happens.
He's been doing so good. His dog's so excited about it. I mean, Andrew Miller, he drove for Zidell Motorsports in Season 7, then left to join Tanker Motorsports. They folded, Miller came back, and it's been a renaissance for this team. The number 24 team used to be driven by Roger Ray. Now Andrew Miller behind the wheel. He grabbed the fastest time there for a short second. But Sebastian Kukalon went ahead and took it away. This pack right here looking really fast with Diego Pez and Dale Lightning. They're the top 3 drivers right now here in Talladega qualifying.
Nathan Faden, he's going to get a good draft off of Dale Lightning and Sebastian Kukalon, along with the 71. So I think Faden, he's going to shoot to the top of the board. He's already riding in 6th as we're halfway through qualifying.
Now watch out for Sam Adio, though. The other Zidell Motorsports driver. He could get a really good draft here since he's a little ways behind the pack. That's the trick to getting a good lap. You hold a bit of a distance, and then you pull right up to him. Wasn't enough to advance his time, but he is already 7th fastest, so he's got a pretty fast time there in that number 48 machine. But Zidell Motorsports looking pretty solid. Miller and Sam Adio, both in the top 10, and their other driver, Fisher G, is 35th. But it doesn't really matter too much where you start in a race like this, like I mentioned. So, looking strong right now for Zidell Motorsports here at Talladega.
Shane Lake, Shane Lake has gone back to the top of the board, so it's a battle between Lake and Kukalon on who can get the pole. But like you said, pole does not really matter. Your starting position is extremely irrelevant, as we see both Red Bull cars on the high side of Shane Lake. What your starting position is really does not play on how you're going to do during the race, unless there's a big wreck up front and you get caught up in the accordion effect. But other than that small detail, your starting position really doesn't affect how you will do in the race tomorrow.
I think that's the key. If you can just avoid wrecks, don't get involved, you'll be good to go. You still have a big shot to win a race like this.
And of course, we had a lot of big wrecks here last year, especially in the spring race. I can remember, had one big wreck early in the race, and then a lot of lap cars got in the way. I think that's another thing that can get overlooked sometimes in a race like this is lap traffic. It comes into play so much at the speedways on Napa Fan, Daytona, Talladega. And if you're not in the right line, you can get held up. I mean, heck, Nicholas Samadio won this race last fall because he chose the right line, I should say, on the last lap as they came up on lap traffic, and he forced everyone to get stuck behind him. So that's the trick to winning this race. You got to maneuver the lap traffic. It's always a chess match when it comes to these races, and later on in the race, that's going to be a huge factor if we get a big wreck and guys who are slow on the racing surface. I do believe, and of course we still got a little bit of time left here, but Shane Lake has put down a really good time, and it's looking like he's going to lead the field of the green flag tomorrow for the Mountain Dew Kickstart 500 from Talladega. 43.342 for the rookie driver. Got the race victory at Atlanta. Has had a really solid season, like I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned it yet. He's 5th in the points. I didn't mention it yet. He was 3rd in the points heading into Rockingham. Didn't get the best of runs last week, but still doing a great job. 42 behind Alex in a row. I've actually yet to mention Alex in a row, but he had another great run at Rockingham last week, and he didn't get the race victory even though he led the most laps. He's just been putting down a lot of good runs, and currently, at the moment, Alex in a row holds on to the 27th fastest time. He won the Daytona 500, he won Phoenix, he came close to winning a couple other races so far this year. but he's only got a 20-point lead on Bradley Ream, and I think Bradley's another guy that we really got to watch out for this season. Even though he's a rookie, he's driving the car that won the championship last year, and last year, it was driven by a rookie, Nathan Baird, so Ream has done an excellent job this season. However, he's still yet to win a race on Napa Fan, and with that, he's not in the All-Star race yet, so we'll have to see if our possible points leader even makes it into the All-Star race when we get to that in about a month, so gonna be interesting to see how that all plays out, but the All-Star fan vote is open, and if you haven't voted yet, recommend you do so. We got a few guys in there who are not locked into the All-Star race yet, and not only that, winner of the All-Star race will receive $25 in virtual cash. It'll be real cash, but I just, won't give an actual bill to you, because for one thing, at this time, it's probably not the safest thing to do, and secondly, that'd just be kind of pointless, so I could just use PayPal for that, or Venmo, or something like that. That's how we'll do it. We're looking forward to the All-Star race coming up in a few weeks. That's going to be a lot of fun at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, May 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and all your favorite drivers are going to be in that race, and you can vote if a driver isn't in that race yet. And of course, we'll have the Open, too. Top 2 drivers advance on from that as well, so it's just going to be one fun night, one hot night at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Mello All-Star race coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, along with the one hot night possible format, that you can also vote for the format on that Survey Monkey or straw poll or whatever it is. I'm not sure if the team owner also gets $25, but that would be awesome if they did. As meanwhile, looking up at the top 10, Shane Lake, he leads over Kukulon, Andrew Miller, Jesse Turner, Diego Yepes, Herschel Arvin Alonso. Actually, no. Yeah, Herschel Arvin Alonso in 6th. That's a great run for him.
Yeah, he does have a good run right there.
Yeah.
And this is actually the site of Alonso's first Cup win. He's won twice in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Surprisingly, it's only been twice. He has been in the series a long time. But Season 5 he won here, and Season 7 he won at Dover. Those are his only 2 wins in the series, but I have a feeling this could be a good chance for him to possibly get that 3rd win. I think at some point he's going to win this season. But, Alonso and Allen, those are probably the 2 guys who have been in the series the longest, who have probably had the least amount of success. And especially Alonso, who has pretty much been in the series since Season 2. He's had a couple of part-time seasons, but for the most part he's been full-time that whole time. He's only gotten 2 wins. But then there's Tristan Allen, who has been full-time since Season 3. And I just don't know anymore. Like, 180 races without a points-paying win. He has won the All-Star race before, so he at least has something, but, we're just going to have to see. Maybe, just maybe, he'll win tomorrow. Maybe. He'll call the race with us in the Turkey Hill Series later on today, so look forward to that. This out they're going to line up for tomorrow's race. Shane Lake, Kukulon, Miller, Turner, Yepes, Alonso, Oskin, Lightning, Baird, and Davidson, the top 10. And take a look at the rest of the results right there. And that's where everyone is going to start. I don't know. I'm looking for ties. I do not see any at the moment. And I do believe we did not end up with any ties, which is interesting for a Talladega qualifying session. But hey, that's the way it rolls. That's the way they're going to line up for tomorrow's 38-lap race here from Talladega. And I hope you guys stick around and enjoy it. Noon Eastern Time on Napa Fan. In less than an hour, we got some Talladega racing in the Turkey Hill Series. Trust me, you're going to want to watch that one. It's a great race. Had Marty, Tristan, and Trey call that one. And you're definitely going to want to watch it. That's a hard thing to say. It's going to be a good one for the Chevy Trucks 300 Turkey Hill Series coming up in less than an hour over on NAPFan. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Shane Lake for winning the poll. And I will see you guys later.